of business and the business of life. This is The Opening Bell with Steve Grzanich on 720 WGN.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the program. Today is Tuesday. It's September 25th, and it's 5:11 in the morning. Thanks for being here with us for another edition of The Opening Bell and another business day getting underway. We've put together a really good broadcast for you today on the program. We're going to be talking about how perhaps serving on a board, whether it be a corporate board or a not-for-profit board, could help maybe turbocharge your networking ability, also build some leadership skills and business skills. That'll be in our first segment this morning. Andy Davis is here from Board Source. A little bit later in the program, Chicago Ideas Week is on the way, mid-October. And we'll be talking with one of the organizers of that in our second segment this morning at about 5:40. But first, let's begin with the markets in Asia this morning on the WGN Associated Bank Market Desk. Markets in Japan and also in Hong Kong are higher this morning. Nikkei up 195 points, almost a full percent. Looking at the rest of the list here, the Hang Seng up 475 points. That's nearly 2%. And the Shanghai up nearly 2.5%, 68.24. In Europe, markets are generally higher with, but not by much. The Nikkei, the FTSE, the DAX, and the CAC are up by about 0.25% each. And in the United States, futures are pointing toward a flat to positive open a little bit later on Wall Street. Dow futures are up 38 points, but NASDAQ and S&P futures are up just single digits. And oil is trading at $72.46 a barrel, which is up about 38 cents. A couple of stories before we get going this morning. Britain's main opposition, Labour Party, says it will reject Prime Minister Theresa May's proposed Brexit deal with the European Union when it comes to a vote in Parliament. If Britain and the EU agree on a deal, it must be approved by individual nations before Britain leaves. In the UK, that means a vote by lawmakers, and the math looks ominous for May's minority government. A Labour spokesman says the party will reject the deal along the lines that May has proposed because it does not meet 6 tests that they've put forward, including protecting workers' rights and retaining access to European markets. Officials in China say they cannot hold talks with Washington on ending an escalating trade dispute, while the United States, in their words, holds a knife to Beijing's neck by imposing tariff hikes. The warning comes after the Chinese government released a report that accuses President Trump of bullying other countries. It dampens hopes for progress toward a settlement of their war over Beijing's technology policy. And Ernst & Young has been slapped with a second sexual harassment claim in less than a year, describing a culture of discrimination and lewd behavior toward women at the accounting firm. A former partner there says a supervisor routinely commented on her breasts, suggested that she should accompany him to strip clubs, and even texted her at 2 a.m. while on a work trip, asking to meet her for drinks. And you heard in the opening montage, Pandora, the deal yesterday by the satellite company Sirius XM to buy Pandora. Pandora stock was higher yesterday, but ended up closing the day down nearly 1% yesterday on the news of that purchase by Sirius XM. We begin this morning with the idea that perhaps being on a board, serving on a board, could help you build leadership and business skills, might even be the power networking move that you've been looking for. Andy Davis is with us this morning, the Director of Education at Board Source, to talk more about this. Andy, good morning. Welcome to the Opening Bell.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Lovely to have you this morning, because this is a topic I think that we've hit a couple of times on the show, and that is how we can network more and build the skills that are sort of hard to hone, the leadership skills, the interpersonal skills, those skills that are kind of hard to come by unless you have some sort of experience, and this notion that perhaps serving on a board might help. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I definitely would. I think that there's not a lot of opportunities where you get to kind of practice this business acumen of being a fiduciary oversight of an organization, but at the same time, you really have to put in play those team working skills. Like you said, you're able to network, but you're also able to bring your whole self to a body that is making really important decisions about the future of an entire organization. So you're having to put yourself out there and compromise, find that kind of radical middle sometimes, and work with others, and while doing that, you're getting to know those individuals better, hopefully opening up your network for future opportunities.
Andy, what kind of decisions? I mean, I guess it depends on the board you're on versus, let's say, a corporate board versus a not-for-profit board, but what are some of the kinds of decisions that you have to make, some of the kinds of duties that a person might have?
Well, I mean, every nonprofit board member, even corporate board members, right? So they're all corporations. They've got those legal duties, those duties of care, loyalty, obedience to be a fiduciary. So you are really overseeing the future, the strategic direction of the organization. We're trying to stay out of kind of the micromanagement. We're not worried about the day-to-day, the management decisions of the organization. We're worried about the long-term, the governance of the organization and staying out of kind of meddling in the affairs of the chief executive or the staff, but you're really focused on the direction, long-term future of the organization.
Right, and the big one there is money, making decisions about money. That's a huge one, isn't it?
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, no organization can operate without resources, and so when you come to these types of opportunities to serve on a board, there's really it's important to have that kind of financial acumen, so you understand what you're getting yourself into, and that goes back to those legal duties.
Tell us a little bit about BoardSource. What do you do there? What is that boardsource.org about?
Yeah, so at BoardSource, our mission is really to inspire and support excellence in nonprofit governance and board and staff leadership. We do that through several different ways. We're a consulting and training organization. We're a publications organization. We have more nonprofit governance titles than anyone else, and we also have a membership arm. But really what we're here to do is just to disseminate resources to help create better leadership in nonprofit organizations. We're also a nonprofit. We're a 501c3. So it is our mission and our duty to try to get as much positive information out there for people to be able to consume and understand what their role is as a board or staff leadership in a nonprofit organization. So
being on a board, if that's something that somebody wants to do, it's not like you're dropped on an island. There are lots of resources available to help if you've never done it before.
That's right. Yeah, we've got a ton of resources on our website, anywhere from the basic roles and responsibilities all the way up to really in-depth understanding of nonprofit financials. When people come into these types of opportunities, it really is a volunteer for nonprofits anyway. It is a volunteer opportunity. So we understand that people are giving of themselves, giving of their time. What we want to be able to do is support them in that endeavor.
Andy, hang on with us. We're going to continue with Andy Davis of BoardSource. The website again is boardsource.org. When we come back, we'll talk about what kind of qualities a person might need to be on a board, especially those not-for-profit boards. And we'll continue our conversation with Andy right after we take a quick break here at 5:18. We need to update traffic this morning. A couple more business headlines at 5:18. First to WGN Traffic Central, and Mary Vanderbilt standing by there. Good morning, Mary.
And good morning. Still very heavy delays coming in on the Bishop Ford because of this rollover accident near 130th. 2 light poles are also down in the roadway. There's debris all over the place. 2 right lanes are blocked off. And also, it's a single lane at Stony Island until October. 57 heading inbound. Some heavy delays there from 111th. Structure fire in Naperville at West and Osler. Also just got word of an accident outbound side of the Stevenson and State involving a motorcycle. Heavy on the inbound side of the Eisenhower from Ashland on in. Cruz Layton picking up some overnight road work there on Congress Parkway. 34 in from 53, about 22 in from Manheim. For personalized traffic on demand, get the Traffic Chicago app approved by the mortgage experts of Team Hochberg. Just search TRAFFIX Chicago. Mary Vanderbilt, WGN Traffic Central.
It's maybe the night that my dreams might let me know all the stars are closer, all the stars are closer.
Tell me what you gonna do to me. Confrontation ain't nothing new to me. You could bring a bullet, bring a sword, bring a morgue, but you can't bring the truth to me.
Alexa, play Kendrick Lamar and SZA.
Okay. Maybe the night that my dreams might let me know all the stars are closer.
With Amazon Music, a voice is all you need. Get tens of millions of songs. Download the Amazon Music app today.
Here's important new information from the Diabetes Solution Center for you, a family member, or a loved one suffering with diabetes. If you have lost your provider, or if you need a provider for diabetic supplies, you may qualify to receive your diabetic testing supplies now with little or no out-of-pocket cost, regardless of your age. All you need is Medicare or private insurance to be potentially eligible. Call the Diabetes Solution Center right now for details. Just takes a couple of minutes. Our friendly, knowledgeable agents will give you free, no obligation information, handle all the insurance paperwork, and make sure your supplies are delivered directly to your door for free.
Call U.S. Medical Supply 24 hours a day. 888-912-1332. 888-912-1332. 888-912-1332. Call right now. 888-912-1332.
Morning, Jim. Want to try a new mocha latte chino?
Just a coffee. Why's everything gotta be so complicated? Like those new smart meters.
That's not complicated. ComEd smart meters give you access to more online tools and programs. They put you in control of your energy use, so you can save a little or a lot.
Ah, I get it. Make that coffee a large. No latte.
That's Smarter Power makes. Hello and welcome back to the Ronnie Deutsch Tax Program. On the line is Paul from California. Hi, Paul. What's your tax problem today?
Hi, Ronnie. Love your show. Listen, I've got a big problem. You see, my paycheck was garnished last week, and I'm only getting half the normal amount. To make matters worse, the IRS froze my bank account. Listen, I'm embarrassed and scared. I need some help.
Listen, Paul, you don't need to feel embarrassed. You just need some tax help. And the great news is the IRS has some unbelievable programs that can eliminate your tax debt so you don't have to worry about having your paycheck garnished or your bank levied. Doesn't that sound great?
It sure does, Ronnie.
Then do yourself a huge favor and get a free consultation right now and tell them the tax lady sent you.
If you owe the IRS $10,000 or more, call now. 855-715-5722. 855-715-5722. That's 855-715-5722.
I'm here with my friend, attorney Bill Pintus of Pintus & Mullins. Bill, most people think lung cancer is only caused by cigarettes, but that's not true, is it?
That's correct. Lung cancer can also be caused by exposure to various toxins like asbestos. In fact, my firm collects millions of dollars every year on behalf of people who are diagnosed with lung cancer. Many of them are smokers and many are not. We're not suing the tobacco companies, but we are suing those people responsible for your asbestos exposure. We also find many cases where the lung cancer diagnosis is often missed by the doctor, where it could have been diagnosed and treated successfully.
How does someone with lung cancer know if they have a case?
That's our job. We investigate all possible causes of your lung cancer for free, and we tell you exactly what your legal options are. You have a limited time to file a claim, so don't wait.
That's great to know. Thanks, Bill. If you've been diagnosed with lung cancer, call the lawyers at Pintus & Mullins Law Firm, 312-766-8000, 312-766-8000, or go to lungcancerlawyers.com.
The Bucs sail into Wrigley, all hands on deck. Cubs, Pirates, Tuesday night baseball tonight at 7 on WGN TV. On the WGN Associated Bank market desk, a couple of stocks of local interest we're watching this morning. Exelon Corporation off about 1% yesterday, $43.20 a share. And MB Financial down more than 1%, almost 1.5% at $47.32. This is the opening bell on 720 WGN.
From ABC News, Wall Street now. Stocks closed mostly lower on Monday as the U.S.-China trade war entered a new phase. Tariffs on billions of dollars of products took effect. The Dow Jones Industrial Average gave up 181 points to close at 26,562. The S&P 500 closed 10 points lower. The Nasdaq Composite picked up 6.25 points. Warning that Sears is running out of both time and money. CEO Edward Lampert is asking creditors to restructure over $1 billion in debt. He's also pushing the company's board to sell off some signature brands like Kenmore. American Airlines says it's partnering with restaurant chain Zoe's Kitchen to offer a new menu in coach. Delta Airlines is rolling out an all-new menu next month on North American flights of 1,400 miles or more. Speaking of food, Weight Watchers is set to shed some weight in its name. The company says it's rebranding simply as WW as it shifts from helping people to lose weight to a broader focus on health and wellness. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
You're listening to the opening bell on 720 WGN.
We're back this morning with Andy Davis, who's Director of Education at BoardSource, boardsource.org online. Andy, I'm curious, what is a good quality for somebody that a board might be looking for? Is it something that we should go looking for, or will boards come and find us?
Well, I think that that's a great question, and it's one of the questions that we get most often. I don't think very often, unless you're putting yourself out there, that boards are going to be able to find you. You might have a great profile, but you need to make yourself noticeable to the organization, right? So what we want to do is approach this kind of like dating. If you're going to be engaged with somebody, if you're going to enter into this kind of serious relationship where you are a fiduciary for the organization, you need some time to be able to get to know each other, to be able to ask the right questions. It's like a job interview. You want them to be asking the right questions of you, finding out if they're missing something that you can bring to the organization. And then also, like I said earlier, this is really a volunteer experience. So how much time and effort and energy are you ready to put into the organization? So having those conversations about expectations up front can really go a long way to making sure that both sides are getting something meaningful out of the relationship.
You talk about the volunteer aspect of this. Goes along with this, at least for some of the not-for-profits. One of your roles, once you take on this volunteer position, might actually be raising money, and that could be a big job, can't it?
Yeah, it can be a huge job, and it depends on what size organization you're with, where they're at in their life cycle, how sophisticated they are, what kind of staff they have around fundraising. But one of the duties of every nonprofit board member is to ensure resources, and that goes to that fundraising piece. And so we have to be ready to bring that part of ourselves to an organization. A lot of times in smaller organizations, that means that you're going to be doing solicitation, you're going to be making the ask. So make sure that you're comfortable around that, getting that kind of training up front. And in those more sophisticated organizations, a lot of times they have development staff that are going to work with you, maybe to help share your network or help you get comfortable with working with those bigger donors, seeing what you can bring to the table for the organization to help continue to raise funds.
Lots of times there's criticism of corporate boardrooms for not being as diverse as the companies that they run. Is that the case with some of these boards of directors that we're talking about, or are these boards that we're talking about a little bit more diverse?
No, sadly, nonprofit boards are doing not a lot better. They're not much better in the diversity category. We put out a report every 2 years called Leading with Intent. You can download it for free at boardsource.org. But that research shows us that really since we started doing this report in 1994, boards are no more diverse today. Actually, they're less diverse, more white than they were in 1994. So we've really got a lot of room for improvement, and that's just not in the racial and ethnic piece. That's in generational diversity, in gender diversity as well. We see the numbers are better in smaller nonprofits, but the larger the organization gets, the worse these numbers get.
So this might be an opportunity for young people and people of color to get a spot on one of these boards, to go and join one of these organizations and push themselves to be on a board to change that situation.
Definitely. I think that there's a lot of talk out there. There's a lot of noise around the need to do better around these types of issues. And so I would encourage anybody that's listening, that's interested in an organization that has a passion for their mission, to reach out. Send your resume, set up an appointment with the board chair or the executive director, just to talk about what opportunities might be there. More than ever, we're hearing that organizations are struggling to find the right mix of individuals on their boards, and so they're putting themselves out there more than they have. And so we're encouraging folks who are interested to get out there and reach out to the organization, see if there's a good fit.
Andy, what are more positives, if you want to think of some more here, or maybe even more negatives that we haven't discussed?
Yeah, I would just encourage folks, again, to think about it from that aspect of how much time do you have to devote to an organization? What are you willing to bring to that place that you say that you care deeply about? One of the biggest problems we see with board service is that there's not clear expectations on both sides before joining a board. So people don't understand when they're coming to these board meetings what's really expected of them between the meetings, from committee responsibilities, making sure we've talked about the fundraising piece, but asking about what your actual personal contribution might need to be. A lot of organizations have give or gets. So having those conversations up front is really, really important, just to make sure that both sides are going to get something beneficial out of the partnership.
Yeah, if you're doing this to not only help the organization but build those leadership and business skills we're talking about and do that networking if you get on there and this is something that you've made a mistake doing, that could actually hurt your chances of improving those things, couldn't it?
Yeah, that's definitely right. I mean, you're going to be judged and evaluated on your performance as a board member. And like we said, no great job opportunity would let you start a job without letting you know what the expectations are. So if you are thinking about joining a board and you're not having those discussions about, full responsibilities of being in this position, so you know up front what to expect, that's just something to look out for and make sure that you're asking those right questions before you get on the board, because nobody wants to invest this much time and energy and then 6 months in, both sides figure out maybe it's just not a good fit.
Right. Andy, a good conversation this morning. Thanks for joining us here on the program.
Thank you so much, Steve. You have a great Tuesday, okay?
You too. Andy Davis is the Director of Education at BoardSource. You can find them online at boardsource.org. I know most of our conversation was talking about nonprofits today, but I saw one report recently that if you're lucky enough to land a job on one of those corporate boards, those are not volunteer positions in a lot of cases. Those corporate board people get paid sometimes as much as six figures or more to be on those boards, but obviously those are much harder to get on. Again, boardsource.org for more on this conversation. It's 5:30. Let's head over to the news.